It's a really good question, Diana. I do get asked that a lot because people do think of estate planning and wealth as like something that a celebrity achieves, and it's like a mansion on a hill, and it's not. We all have wealth. We have ourselves, and we want to protect ourselves. Some of us have homes that we're paying on, right? We have personal possessions. We have our memories. We have, our value to the community. So we all have wealth. And it's important, if you want to protect that wealth, protect yourself and your value, that you look at different tools for protecting yourself, like a power of attorney, that you look at different tools for leaving things to your family in a meaningful way, whether it's a will or a trust or some other kind of beneficiary designation that your family knows your wishes and that they know that they were cared for. So it's not about how much money you have, it's about how do you want to protect your wealth and your values. Thank you for the question.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Danielle, and I'm one of the new organizers here at 1 Million Cups. And so first time up here doing the intro, so bear with me. So if everybody could please scan this code and check in, that lets Kaufman Institute know that we're all here and we're keeping our attendance numbers up. So thank you for doing that. Give everybody a minute to grab that. There's also little tent cards being passed around, so we can use those. So welcome to 1 Million Cups, caffeinating entrepreneurs nationwide every Wednesday morning. All right, so the mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. We are the one and only chapter here in New Mexico, so woohoo, yay us. But they are nationwide. We've got chapters all around us in Texas and Oklahoma. You can also join online to any of those guys, or if you're out traveling, feel free to jump on any other 1 Million Cups. So the most important things is these are presentations, not pitches. We coach everyone to be radically vulnerable, to tell us your story, not take it up here and look for funding or investments or anything like that. And we're also just not a networking group. It's not a matter of just getting out and passing out business cards, but making real connections with people in the group here. We run for the community and by the community. So all of us lovely volunteers, finding ways to spend our time without making money on it. But we do gain tons for doing this. We get to meet with you guys. We get to make tons of connections in the community. So I appreciate this opportunity very much. And really importantly, we're radically and intentionally inclusive. Everyone is welcome here. We're super nice, super kind, opening. Like Paul says, if there's something that is controversial, let's leave those conversations outside and just be kind with everybody. For 1 Million Cups here in Albuquerque, our most important question is, what can this community do for you? So that's what we're looking to answer today for Ms. Martone. We're also looking for presenters. We're always looking for presenters. I think we're good through August, but starting in September, we need some help there. So Ms. Marilyn, I'm looking at you.
I think you applied.
I applied.
I was going to use her as a training session with you.
Perfect. Yay, I'm excited for that one. Then yeah, I think that's the only person out here that I can call out at the moment. All right, so our organizers, unfortunately, Paul is not here today. He's not feeling well. I hope he's online. Hello, Paul. We also have Miss Lisa Atkins. Thank you so much hosting us here at Bat Pipe for over 8 years. Eric is here in person today instead of just online. Welcome, Eric. And me, that's me, yay. I'm Danielle. Adam Sparks is also not here today. Hopefully he's online with Sonia. And Keikoa is here. Oscar's probably out busy making videos somewhere. And we'd love to thank all of our sponsors. So Fat Pipe, obviously, like we said, hosting us for free here for the last 8 years. Foundation for Sustainable Living, providing us with coffee. Minuteman Press, doing all of our printing and our little tent cards out for check-in. And Vibe Solutions, coffee and tea, or tea and fruit. Something, yes, tea and fruit. Noventum Custom Software, thank you so much for donuts. And Jason Collin Photography, thank you, making us look good. And Miriam, More Than Organized, and providing us with creamer. Thank you very much. And thank you. I appreciate you all bearing with me through that first little intro.
Yay, Danielle, you did a fantastic job. So proud of you. Let me stop sharing. We'll flip the slide deck and then I'll introduce our speaker. So in the spirit of entrepreneurship, the Kaufman Foundation provides us with rules for who are allowed to speak. And generally, I will say that law firms are usually not invited because they're looking for founders of startup companies who have things that they need help fixing in their business. That's why we ask you to be vulnerable. But Felice Martone is different. She has a very cool story. And because she gives back to the community so much and goes out and teaches workshops about what she can do to help you, we decided she was a good fit for our community. So please welcome Felice Martone. She's a small business and estate planning attorney. She's going to tell you about her story here. Please welcome her.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. I'm Felice Martone, and this is my story from employee to entrepreneur. So I'm born and raised in Albuquerque. I did leave for a little while. I went to college in Santa Clara University, came back, graduated for the University of New Mexico School of Law. I graduated from this School of Law in 2005 and also became an attorney in 2005. So I calculate 18 years. I got married in 2006 and I'm the mother of 3. There's me and my kids, and I've been a small business owner since 2021. My journey as an attorney, I started working my first 3 years out of law school for Law and Resource Planning Associates. I was a water law attorney, which was very interesting, but not very fulfilling. I joined my dad, that's me and my dad, the Martone law firm. He established the firm in 1985 and I joined him in 2008 as the managing attorney. Then I purchased the law firm from him in 2021 and he now works for me. And so from the time he established the firm in the 80s, we've been doing Social Security disability claims, helping people appeal the government denials of their benefits when they've been unable to work. So what happened? There's been a steady decline in approval of disability cases since, I would say, 2015 forward. Then we had the COVID-19 snowball effect. We've all been affected by it, some good, some bad, trying to see the positive in it, but definitely paused a lot of the income stream that we had from Social Security disability. I was able to get some small business loans, some paycheck protection programs. And like I said, you know, the positive in COVID was that I was able to get those loans because we had over a 50% reduction in our gross receipts over 2020 and 2021. So we had no predictable income stream, and here I am stuck with high overhead costs. So my biggest challenge was, I'm an attorney and I have no income. So do I drive an Uber for a while? Do I get a job at Starbucks? I hear they have good benefits, but I needed hourly work. I needed not to be paid contingency fee from Social Security. So I needed to find the right kind of hourly work, the right kind of clients, and build a new reputation. I needed consistency in my income, and I needed to lower my overhead costs. So what I've been doing is I've started educating myself in the other types of law that I could practice that would build community and be something that would be tied to my disability background. I began networking, offering value, and maintaining consistency. So starting my own practice, we moved uptown to the Bank of Albuquerque building. We used to be downtown for a long time. That's me and my staff, my dad, and our 3 legal assistants. We also did some rebranding from our old logo to our new logo. Got some new photos taken. So how do I make money? I make money by getting capped contingency fees from the Social Security Administration. So what does that mean? I take on a case and maybe in 3 to 5 years, I see some money from that case if we win. So there's a big risk in that. It's really hard to plan. Now, I also offer flat rate estate planning and business planning services. So that's how I am making my monthly income, my hourly income. What do I provide? I provide a Living Legacy Shield program consisting of mostly revocable living trusts, but other estate planning and business planning tools. I help people with wills, powers of attorney, advanced medical directives, beneficiary designations, special needs trusts, business planning, and creating business entities. I've worked with several people that have given me excellent reviews on helping them with their business and also helping them understand the complicated world of estate. So I am working on overcoming my challenges. I started downsizing, really streamlining to a smaller office, less employees. I began learning a lot about estate planning and the need in our community, creating my niche practice to serve small business owners like myself, networking tons to try to meet the right kind of people, and also bringing back to the community by educating. This is me at the Albuquerque Mom Fall Festival. I was talking to new moms about estate planning. I went to the Hispano Chamber of Commerce and I was educating our community about disability benefits as well as estate planning. Here I am at the State Bar in the Annual Humane Society Doggy Dash and Dawdle. That's my son Joaquin there. He loves coming with me. I began a board position with the Hispano Chamber Women's Group, which has been delightful. Here we are in the boardroom. It's a boardroom full of women. And so I've kind of found my home there. I've been given other opportunities through the chamber to speak. This was an event that we did at the Sawmill. We were talking about women in typically male-dominated professions. So there was myself, an attorney, the other woman was a scientist, and the other woman is a construction manager. Here we are again, the Hispano Women's Program. I also was honored to receive a nomination for a board position with the National Association of Women Business Owners. They have also welcomed me with open arms. I am the founding member of a women's giving circle here in Albuquerque. We give to nonprofits that support women and girls in our local community. I've been lucky to collaborate with other wonderful women like Diana Webb, Managing Director of Polka Dot Powerhouse, my friend Erica Ferns, with Profit Pathways in doing different events and workshops for our community. I received the Family Friendly Business Award. I attend women's leadership summits, and here I am with my friend again, Diana. We were attending a women's event over Valentine's Day, and we made a lot of lovely connections. I've been invited to speak at the second annual Boss Women Summit. So if anybody's interested in coming in September. I have sponsored the Boss Women Happy Hour, and there are some of my other networking and connection friends. I do provide education on New Mexico living. Here are some appearances that I've had recently, talking about concerns for women business owners in estate planning, but also for families and business owners in general. So how do I keep up with all of this? This is one of my favorite memes. My friend and I, Tammy, ask each other, what's your duck level today? And sometimes I'm a 9, gotta be honest. Sometimes I'm the 5, you know, not always the 1. The 1 looks too like puffy to me. I like to be the number 2. I'm good with the number 2. So, you know, what I'm looking for is my ask of you is that I need to work smarter, not harder. I want to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time for the right people so that I can reach who really needs to know these things. How do I fill my cup? My family. This is my husband, myself, and my 3 kids. My friends. I have my good friend Shauna Chris. She has Healthy Homes Consulting. Again, Diana Webb. And my good friend Kelly Treadwin, financial advisor. So my ask of you is I want to have more collaborations with like-minded professionals. I want to have more speaking engagements. I want opportunities to provide educational workshops. I'm looking at building my estate and business planning practice. And so I thank you very much for listening to my story. I look forward to connecting with either any of you on a one-on-one level. Here is how to reach me. My address, phone number, if you scan the QR code, it will take you to my website. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Question and answer. So if you want to ask a question in person, come on up here and let's form a line. Always introduce yourself and let people know where you're from. And if you want to ask a question online, just raise your hand and we will, or raise your hand or put your question in the chat and I'll call on you. Eric, you going first?
I'll be a sacrificial first person. Hi, good morning. My name is Eric Prince Whitmore. I'm one of the organizers with Million Cups here. One of the questions I had is family, being part of the family business. How do you navigate that? You know, are there rules you have to put in place? What was it that made it successful for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think you just have to have the right relationship. I could work with my dad and work for my dad for a while because he let me boss him around. So, we couldn't both be the alphas in the relationship. And so he was willing to sort of take a back seat and really let me build the practice. He was literally cutting and pasting when I got there, instead of on the computer cutting and pasting. So I was like, okay, Dad, we got to get into the technology here, make sure, we're organizing our files and just let's get rid of the typewriters. So he was really ready to have me come in. And he's used to women telling him what to do and he likes it. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Diana Webb, and I'm the managing director of a women's group, a local women's group called Polka Dot Powerhouse, and we're the Albuquerque chapter. So we're about women's empowerment. And my question is that you probably get this a lot, or you probably get this as resistance a lot, but I don't have, millions of dollars. I don't have all this stuff. Why do I need an estate plan? Why should I bother? I just have my little life here, and I'm just like, I don't see what I need that for. Why should I spend the money and the time?
Yeah. It's a really good question, Diana. I do get asked that a lot because people do think of estate planning and wealth as like something that a celebrity achieves, and it's like a mansion on a hill, and it's not. We all have wealth. We have ourselves, and we want to protect ourselves. Some of us have homes that we're paying on, right? We have personal possessions. We have our memories. We have, our value to the community. So we all have wealth. And it's important, if you want to protect that wealth, protect yourself and your value, that you look at different tools for protecting yourself, like a power of attorney, that you look at different tools for leaving things to your family in a meaningful way, whether it's a will or a trust or some other kind of beneficiary designation that your family knows your wishes and that they know that they were cared for. So it's not about how much money you have, it's about how do you want to protect your wealth and your values. Thank you for the question.
Hello, Miriam Ortiz-Pino with More Than Organized. I have a few thoughts, but mostly I want to know what you have in place systems wise for tracking how these speaking events are converting for you so that you know where to spend more of your time. And you've done a lot of things, but you might be getting a little too spread out versus, speaking and being there is great, but until you measure, you don't know. And are you doing that?
That's a great question. Thank you, Miriam. I love that question, and that really gets my head turning. No, I don't have a specific way of doing it, and I would like some information on how I could track, because I do ask where I get how did they hear about me? And most of the time they said, I went to a speaking event, my friend went to a speaking event, my family member went to a speaking event. And so I'm tracking it from that. And then I usually kind of know, oh, it was the one I did at the community center. Oh, it was the one I did for the chamber because of the time frame. And they usually tell me. So I do ask, but I had somebody else suggest to me getting like a specific phone number or a specific QR code for each event, but I'd be open to ideas on how I could better track that. So thank you.
Alan and Annie, we'll come to you next.
Hey, hi. When I started my law firm about 2003, I spent a few weeks talking to a number of attorneys to find out how they marketed, how they expanded their business. And it seems like you've taken some of that advice I got. Essentially, it was speaking, networking, and writing, because one attorney put it succinctly. He said, when someone asks me for a referral, I usually give them the last person that I talked to in that practice area, because that's freshest on my mind. So I realized the challenge was, how can I stay in front of people without being a pain in the butt? And one of the things I came up with was an electronic newsletter that I put out 3 to 4 times a year. I called it an occasional newsletter. I tried to have something substantive in law. I ran guest articles from other practice groups. I also included some humor. And it's funny, I belong to some national organizations, and I never went anywhere in the country without someone mentioning my newsletter. Now, it's an indirect marketing tool. It was just to keep my name in front of people. So it worked in conjunction with the other things. I'd also like to follow up on what Miriam said. I think you're wise right now to be involved in all of these groups and be on all of these boards. But there's a trap there. It's very flattering when people offer you a board position and they want you to be a leader in their organization. But as you get more successful and busier, you're going to find that's an unreasonable burden. And I ran into this when my practice was mature. I was managing partner of a small firm, and I was really busy. And I finally did an inventory, and for the first time, I don't know why, but I realized I was on 8 boards and committees. And it was like, now I know why I'm so busy. And I immediately did a committeeectomy, and I set a rule for myself that I could only be on 2 boards. And that if I wanted to go on to another board, I had to leave one. And that was somewhat radical, but I was overwhelmed at the time. And again, it's very flattering when people want you to be on the board. And right now you're not as busy and you can afford that. But I would urge you to really keep track of how much time you're spending with all of these. I mean, essentially it's marketing, it's indirect networking, but it's also at some point going to be a burden on you. I will give you a little explanation to help answer that question of why would I want to do estate planning? I asked potential clients, because I did a little bit of estate planning at the end of my practice. And I would ask people, do you like your relatives? And if the answer is no, then I would say, well, then don't write a will, because you will leave them a mess. They'll be fighting with each other, and some of them will end up hating each other, and they'll be swearing at you, although you'll be gone. Now, if you like your relatives and friends, then write a will. That way you've made your wishes known, and you've given everybody a roadmap of how to disperse your assets, and you've done them all a kindness by writing this will. So you can feel free to use that if you want. But the reality is it's true, because I don't know if you've done any trust administration, but when people don't have a will, it's a mess, and people will hate each other and they will fight. And I'll just give you one little vignette. One attorney said he had a fairly big estate, 2 brothers, and they fought about everything. They couldn't agree on anything. And when they had to sell everything and divide up the money, and it came out to uneven cents. And they started fighting over the penny. And he took a penny out of his pocket and gave him one and told him to get the hell out of his office. But it just proves that people will fight to the death over nothing. So that's a different way to explain why you need a will. So those are just some thoughts for you, and I wish you well on your journey.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you. Danielle?
Okay, well, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't have so much of a question. But Felice and I just did the workshop this last Friday for talking about protecting your living legacy and estate planning and all of that and advanced care directives. And she's super knowledgeable about what she's doing and she's very approachable. I think that's really important, is feeling comfortable coming to talk to someone about these things. So I appreciate that part of you very much. And I also wanted to say that Delise was super helpful for me with the client that I was just working with. The client has now passed, but in trying to figure out some of the legal aspects of her process of coming to her death. So I really appreciated the time you put in with that. So thank you.
Annie, your turn.
Thank you. Okay, before I get to my question, first of all, I want to thank you for presenting this. And then I want to share something first before I ask the question, because my question is on disability laws and process. So let me just put, first of all, thank you on estate planning, and for the people on the audience. Estate planning, even though you don't have much, you don't even realize how complicated it is. I mean, I've been working on mine for over a year and it's quite the process. It's a very interesting experience. So for those of you who think you don't have much, you have more than you think you do. So I would at least evaluate at a minimum to see what you've got and what you don't have, right? At a minimum, I have my bank accounts in payable upon death, POD, right? So at a minimum, I do that so it doesn't go into probate. My family doesn't have any legalities and snags. So let me get to my question. So thank you for being here. The disability process can be very, very taxing and very arduous and very lengthy. What are some of the legal resources or resources for people in general who, before they get their disability, and sometimes they don't even get it before, and then they die, right? And that to me is an injustice to people who need it, right? Why do they make them wait? I get that some people are scammers. I get that. But at the same time, when someone is near the deathbed and the government rejects that and not approve it, that's an injustice. So what are some of the, from you as an attorney, what are some of the things that attorneys can work on as a group to be the advocate for disabled people? And the process of, is 3 years. How do people live for 3 years without the money that they need? And then when they finally get it, disability says, oh, you're making too much money. You don't qualify for this benefit or that benefit. Really, guys? It's just sad. So what's your take on that?
Thank you for the question. Social Security Administration is the nation's largest bureaucracy. It is also extremely underfunded. So trying to process over 1 million claims with half your staff and lack of technology being updated is why it takes so long. They've come a long way, but it's not far enough, clearly, in their processing. They just figured out video hearings after COVID. They closed for 9 months in 2019, closed. So Social Security is a giant bureaucracy that does not care about you. They don't want you to take your money out of Social Security. So they deny most claims. There's an 80% chance your claim is going to be denied until you get to administrative law judge. Then it jumps up to a whopping maybe 50%. In 2017, they changed the regulations to make it easier to say no to sick people whose doctors were on board that, yes, this person cannot work. What does the doctor know? So it's a problem, and they treat the most vulnerable in society the worst. That's why they need people to advocate for them. That's why I do what I do. That's why we had worked on a disability practice for so long. You say people wait 3 years, so do I. I don't get any money until we win the case, and that's if we win. And the chances of winning, even though we're higher success rate nationally, is still, it's difficult. People that we think should be on benefits don't get them when they should. People do pass away. Some of my clients do, and it's devastating. And so to make the system go faster, there really has to be change in the funding for Social Security. And for the SSI claimants, like you're saying, you make too much money, you have to have less than $2,000 in income and resources to qualify for SSI. That's below poverty level. So keeping your SSI keeps you poor. And it's not a way to elevate you out of your situation. It's a temporary little Band-Aid. And a lot of people bet, their lives on it, and it's just not enough. They're trying to raise these rates. These rates were established in the 50s. I mean, come on. So they're trying to get SSI up to $10,000 in income and resources and not penalize disabled couples for marrying each other. So these things need to be passed. It needs to be on a national level. For resources for people looking at qualifying for disability, the Social Security website does have some good information. And even talking with a disability attorney, there are several that I do know in the community that I have referred to, because I'm one person, so I'm my dad. I can't help everyone. So we do also provide workshops for that, but it is a long, lengthy process, and it's a nationwide issue. So thank you for your question.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Norm Dawson with drnormconnections.com, and I am in the dementia defense business. And I talk about how to connect the dots between hearing loss and dementia. And I don't know if you're aware of that, but you're not. Okay, good. So here's an area, you're so busy. You've got so many things going on. I really appreciate you being a disability advocate. I've been a disability advocate for 50 years. I've deaf both ears, cochlear implants, if you don't know what those are. And something just came to my attention recently was an audiology person that I know said that what's going on in the assisted living centers, rehab centers, is that patients are coming in, they have some difficulty with cognition, so they're tested for cognition. But when there's an opportunity to test for hearing, no, we don't provide those services. So they're going to be able to scam CMS and Social Security with, okay, well, they needed cognitive services, but the patient couldn't hear the questions, so they evaluate them as having cognitive decline, and so they're going to bill CMS and other agencies for that service, and they deny the hearing testing, which could really change things. So for you, I know you got your plate full of a bunch of things, but maybe there's a connection between estate planning and some of the other things you do for people as they move along. This is something that needs to be addressed. I don't know if you want to mess with it. It's just another big thing on your plate. But anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up as an opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you for that comment. It's interesting. So what you're saying is they just didn't hear the questions. They don't have cognitive decline. They didn't understand the question. They assumed they did, or they're trying to maybe have pride that they heard it. And I do think that the insurance billing community is broken as well. And I see a lot of that with disability and people trying to get their health care and needs taken care of. So yes, I agree with you. Thank you for the comment.
Hi, my name's Laura. My husband Ivan and I run New here. So but my question to you is for like estate planning, about, do I see an estate planner if I wanted to leave my house to charity instead of a family member? Or I go to, like, if I wanted to leave my house to Habitat, or would I go to Habitat or to an estate planner?
Yeah, so you would need to make a plan so that your money would go to Habitat for Humanity. Because unless you make a plan, there is the default rules that would apply to you. And the default rules in New Mexico are if you pass without any kind of plan, it's going to go to your living spouse that you were married to at the time, or your kids, or then your parents. And then it kind of follows a line like that. So nowhere does it say Habitat for Humanity, right? So you need to make a plan with an estate planning attorney to say where you want your things to go. And if you want to tell Habitat for Humanity, hey, you're going to get an inheritance from me, I'm sure they would be very grateful. But the way we identify it is we get their tax ID number and all the information, and then whomever is winding down your affairs when you're gone will have that information to be able to present it to the charity of your choice. Yes, good question. Thank you.
So I got divorced when my daughter was 13, and family plan, my lawyer said, "You need an estate plan." I said, "Why?" And she said, well, she tried to explain to me slightly what would happen if I passed and my daughter not being 18, right, and going through probate. And it sounded like she would be at her most vulnerable time in her most complicated time. As a parent, do you kind of bring that into the discussion about family planning? Can you explain what the implications my lawyer was trying to tell me.
Sure.
That's a great question. And my friend Kelly Trevin here, she always says, if you're over 18, you need an estate plan. And she said that before we met. And that's because we want to protect ourselves. And so if something were to happen to you tomorrow, right, we don't wish that, but if something could, just like COVID came from one day to the next, March 16th, we were cool, March 17th, no. So, we don't know what could happen. And so if something were to happen to you, where would your daughter go? What would happen to her? How would she get things from you? Is she going to go with her mom, or if her,
What would the state do about the state? What does
So
the state do?
there would have to be somebody would have to be her guardian. And if it's your surviving ex-spouse, unless she's gone, but it would have to go through probate. And if you left no will, there would be court required for your daughter. Somebody would have to go to court on her behalf and make that happen. If you wanted to leave to her, you could do different kind of beneficiary designations. And I don't know what that would look like because that's different for everyone. I'm not saying you fit into one, particular box till I get to know you and your daughter and your family and, all of that. So, but it does provide ways to protect you, because if you pass without a plan or a will, you have to go to probate. And there's a time frame, 3 years. And like you said, it happens during when you're most vulnerable, when people are most confused. So picking a person that you trust, an adult that you trust, to wind things down for you when you're gone, or if something happens to you, will give you peace of mind. Then okay, my 13-year-old, she has so-and-so, and they're going to do this if something happens to me tomorrow. And hopefully not. Hopefully she doesn't inherit till way, way longer. And you can also put protections in there for her to not inherit from you till she turns 18, or other protections till she graduates college, depending on what you're leaving behind. So there's lots of ways to plan for your specific scenario, but it's important to think about that there is probate for your loved ones unless you make a plan. And unless you do other designations besides a will. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Hi, David Murphy with Core Visual. My wife and I are doing this right now. We're going through figuring out what happens if I die, if she dies, if we both die, if my business partner dies, and all these things. I can totally see for marketing doing little short, hippie YouTube shorts and Instagram and TikTok, because I'm Gen X, right? And we're getting to where, I saw an ad on TV the other day for a statin drug, and it was Tony Hawk. You know what I mean? So we're starting to think about these things. So, so much of the legal process is so hard to wrap your head around. If you could just do these succinct little, and I loved your just bluntness with, if you did a video where you look at the camera saying, Social Security doesn't care about you or your family. Stuff like that. Just hit it hard, just like that, and then give some brief legal explanation.
Yeah.
I think they go a long way, because then when people are looking for an Albuquerque estate planner, you pop up, they're gonna be like, oh, I really like this lady a lot. I want to talk to her. So just food for thought.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Wesley with New Mexico Elite. My question is about business planning. So what is your ideal business client for business planning, and do you have to be starting a business, or can you already be in business to do business planning?
Yes. Great question. You can jump in at any level. So if you're looking to start a business, I have a friend who is new to Albuquerque, Kathy Ford. She just started a VA agency, a virtual assistant agency, and I helped her go from sole proprietor to an LLC. And helped her with that paperwork and getting started. I have other business friends who have come to me and said, can you review my documents? Because I'm not able to do what I think I should be able to do. Can you read what my business plan says? Can you read how it's set up? I've also encountered business planning when we're trying to put, I have a client who is a restaurant franchise owner, and we're trying to put his businesses into his trust. And so we're looking at his business model, and if something happens to him or any other member, his business ends. And that's not what he wants. And so a lot of it is looking at everything that you have and how your business succession is going to go. So, and that can be done at any time. And also business planning as far as how it can fit into your estate plan, how you can maintain the value of your business, as well as using the estate planning tools to maintain that value, and also protecting yourself if anything were to happen to you. And then also passing on, the legacy of your business in a way that's meaningful to you, whether you're going to sell it to somebody, family's going to take it over, how it's going to work. Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Hi, thank you. I have a question. Hopefully you may be able to answer. I just finished a attentional conscious leadership course, and they were talking about when you start your new business, the LLCs and all this. There was a mention of a B Corp, which is kind of a newer model in business. Do you know about that? Can you explain that to me?
I cannot. I do know a lot. I form mostly LLCs and S corporations. And so I do not have information on B corporations at this time, but I do know a few other business planning attorneys that I could give you information about that may be able to explain that. Thank you for your question.
And I just wanted to say also that I think it's outstanding what you're doing to support the community. On a sideline, I grew up, my mother was divorced when I was real young, single mother raising me and my sister, my other 3 sisters. I applaud what you're doing to support women and young women. And I think you're doing an intentional business by helping that way. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Clifton Chadwick for Comunicaciones Cocopelli. Can we have a big hand for the thousands of dollars of free legal advice that we've all in exchange for which I want to give you a spec spot that you might produce for your video. And it's this really acrimonious fight around a kitchen table with all of the things that you've heard are the worst outcomes of not having a will. I thought he loved me. Is that all I get? And all kinds of stuff with this little woman in the middle of the table, just looking at all these people because she's got to deal with it. She's the daughter of the deceased. And so then it's just all of that here, all over the screen. And then a slow pan. And it's the same woman at the same table looking at her memories. She's looking at pictures of, whoever's the deceased mom, dad. I don't know, maybe she's got a stack of cash next to her on the table, but it just sort of slowly wipes across the thing. And as it wipes, the acrimonious noise comes down and we're left with this beautiful picture of her in a calm place, loving her memories. And then your logo comes up down here and you just say, you may not come to us for your proper name for these documents, but go to someone.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Anybody online? Yes. Okay, come on.
Hi, thank you. Hi, my name is Marlene Brown. I teach at Central New Mexico Community College in Seattle. So I actually have done all my planning. I had some death in my family and that prompted me to do that. And so I thought somebody in my family would be an executor and they passed away. And so I realized I needed to do it. And so it took me about 2 years to go through very slowly. So the best time to do it is when you're in good health. I'm just telling you, it can be a nightmare. And having death in my family, I had just horrible people come out of the woodwork and I saw some terrible fights about ridiculous stuff. And there's no reason for any of that. So the other thing is, because I lost folks, some of you didn't mention is I have an estate power of attorney for myself, and I have a healthcare power of attorney that I researched because there's really good and really bad folks out there. And I just wanted to thank you for just bringing it up. And I think that if you haven't done it, do it. And it's really not an easy or fast process. It will take a while to figure things out. And I just revisited, I did it a while ago, and I just revisited with my lawyer and had to change some things. And that was really good. So do that too, revisit.
Yes.
Anyway.
Absolutely. I recommend that you, once you create your plan, that you review it yearly. Why not? Doesn't take long. Things can change pretty quickly, so it's important to make sure that they're updated. Appreciate your comments.
2 more short questions.
Short question. Jeff Bargel from CNM Ingenuity. I have, and my husband have done our estate planning, but my parents have not. And I can't seem to convince them because my mom's reaction is, well, we don't have anything. You know, so you guys just figure it out, which is hilarious because my parents, both their siblings have all fought over their parents' estates. So you have any advice for convincing somebody in this situation? Hey, mom, dad, come on, give me something so I don't fight with my siblings when you're gone.
Yeah. It's funny, the attorney that made a comment earlier online, do you love your family? Ask your mom, do you love me? Yes. Okay. Thank you, mom, for loving me. Will you make a plan that'll make things easier for me when you're gone? Because I'm gonna be devastated, mom, when you're gone. And the more I have a plan in place, let's figure it out now, and I'll help you figure it out. I don't care what I get, what you're giving, to whom, to what. I just don't want there to be a mess. I don't want to hate my siblings. I don't want to hate my family later on, because you're not going to be here to, mediate this. And so please do it now. And, even just send it to my webpage. I have a few videos on there now. Poke around and just look. What's the importance of doing it? And really, like I said, to ask her, do you care about me? And do you want me to be happy when you're gone with how things are, right? I'm going to be grieving you're being gone. I need help making sure things are in place.
My dad said, if you all fight, I'm coming back to haunt you.
Well, see, that's going to be a little burden on him, right? I mean, does he want to come with the chains and all this and like the shocks? So, tell him, look, dad, go in and go where you want to go. Don't come back and haunt us. Let's make a plan. Yeah.
Okay, Franklin, wrap us up.
Wrapping it up, and I'm following 2 earlier comments. My mom, I was the executor of her estate, and she had a revocable trust in place. But as she got older, we had her deed her home to herself, myself, and my daughter. And living in her home was my disabled younger sister. So that made a smooth transition because she needed someone to pay the utilities. And it didn't take a long bit of planning. I drew up the deed in a few minutes. And then the other comment, I'm following the lady about the gift to Habitat to Humanity. I tried to give a property a few years ago to a local charity. And they said, well, and it's an income producing property. And they said, well, the first thing we're going to do is sell it as quickly as we can. So we'd really, we'd rather have the cash, but we'll take this. And as you understand, if you sell it for less than the appraisal, if they sell it for less than the appraisal, it reduces the tax benefit of making that gift. So what I've done now with the trust that I have, I'm making sure that the 2 main charities in town want those income producing properties, that they'll take them and operate them and not fire sale them with a time limit.
Yeah. So I don't let anybody put in their plan, anyone they haven't spoken to. So if you're going to plan to gift, we're going to talk to the charity. We're going to make sure they want what you're giving. Make sure your kids and your family want what you're giving, because you may be surprised. You may think they want your house and they're like, oh, you may think they want your tea set. No. So, make a plan now to disperse of those things so that they don't become, a burden later. And I am going to address, a lot of people think that, with the age of internet, you can go online and do these things. I can make it simple one myself. ChatGPT can draft me a trust. Okay. I can cut my own hair too, and I can paint my own nails. I could probably figure out how to fix the broken pipe. No, I can't. So I'm going to go to an expert. Just like you would go to a heart doctor if something was wrong with your heart, you're going to go to an estate planning attorney to make sure that your wealth is protected. So thank you all very much for today. I really appreciate your attention and the questions and comments. Thank you.
Elise, I'm really excited to have a referral because I get comments. People come to my desk practically weekly. I need a business attorney. So estate planning is absolutely necessary. If you start a business with any partner, no matter who it is, you need planning there as well. And so I love that we're having a referral. My favorite is Zach Lerner, and he's too busy to take clients now. So we need small business attorneys in our community as well. Thank you so much for presenting. 2 last questions, red or green?
Green.
And what's the one thing that this community can do for you today?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me an email so we can set up a connection so that I can get to know you better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. We do have quite a few events that I can share. Let me see if I can pull those up for you. I love when people share all their events. Like on Slack for Activate NM, I get the email from the Founder Syndicate. It just makes it so easy to be able to share these. So thank you for doing that, everybody. We've got our workshop with Jason Burnett. That's August 24th here at Fat Pie BBQ at noon. You can register for that. It is free. It's a bring your own lunch, a leadership series. Activate NM. Ken, you asked me about this the other day, free headshots. They're doing another session. So there's a link to register for that. Founder Syndicate is doing a fundraiser for to support Maui. So they have a link that you can go, and they're taking donations that they will then provide to all of the people in Maui.
Who's that?
That's Founder Syndicate. And this is too much to copy and paste. So if anybody wants this document today, just let me know and I'll forward it to you. And then these were ecosystem events that were put in the bottom of the Founder Syndicate email. If you're not a member of that email stream, it's a good one. You should join. But lots of different things happening across the state. A lot of our other events for Activating here are in here as well. So congrats to her for pulling that together for us. I think that's it. Oh, there's one more at the bottom. Do we have any newbies? Anybody who's never been here before? Come on up. We're going to have you form a line here. We'd like you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, how you heard about 1 Million Cups. And if there's anybody online, you can raise your hand and I'll also call on you.
Who wants to go first?
Morning, I'm Rebecca Baines of Standing Bear Healing, and I heal on all levels. So I'm an advanced theta healer that specializes in trauma, childhood abuse, and narcissistic abuse. And I also, after 31 years of chronic illness, have found an array of health and healing products that kind of dovetail in with the energy healing work that I do. I do all my sessions by phone, and Rebecca Baines of Standing Bear Healing.
Does that include Reiki?
I do Reiki, but most of my sessions I just do by phone. So we work on the subconscious mind. So we clear the trauma or clear the limiting beliefs in the subconscious mind, in the cells, in the soul, the whole shebang.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is my first time here. I came to support my good friend and collaborator, Felice Martone. My name's Kelly Treadwin. I own a financial services firm. My husband and I have been in business together for 10 years. Our firm is Altaloon Wealth Advisors. We work with couples to figure out how to manage your money together. And as a small business owner, with my spouse, it can get kind of dicey sometimes. So we do retirement planning, first-time home buying, legacy planning. And the work that we do sits really right next to the work that Felice does. If you don't have a good estate plan, whatever financial planning you're doing is at risk. So I really appreciate the work that Felice does for our clients too.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Nice crowd today. My name is Ivan Odinson. This is my awesome wife, Laura.
We own and run Bella Solutions. We help people create a plan B outside of their income. We teach marketing skills. If you'd like to grab some coffee and set up an appointment, see us after, and we'll get together. And yeah, so thank you for being here. And that's our second time here, and we love it here.
Anything I'm missing that we need to announce? Yeah.
Resource fair.
Yeah, come up to the microphone so everyone can hear you. There's our rep from the city of Albuquerque.
The resource fair that I mentioned last week will be August 28th, 4 to 7 at the Ted Gallegos building. Okay, I didn't have a location, so I have a
And which
location.
part of town is that one for? Because you're doing it. in quadrants?
Southwest. Yep,
What is
it's
it
good
about?
Southwest on this one.
What is it about? What is
It's I'm sorry, good question, great question. Resource fair that we're putting on, so several of our departments will be there, from planning to zoning. The minority small business agency will be there as well. So we're all going to be there as resources. If you would like to have a booth, it's free. There will be other businesses there as well. It's free to attend. But we want people to know that we're here to support, here to help. And there are a lot of resources that our business owners just don't know are here for you, okay? That I personally haven't been taking advantage of, meaning some of the free classes that are here that business owners don't know about for themselves and employees, and a few other things. So come on out, and we will be having 4 of these in different quadrants of the city, and I'll keep you posted and updated on where the next locations and times will be. Cool? Cool. I'm sorry, the 28th of this month, 4 to 7 at the Ted Gallegos building.
And thanks, Ken. So adding on to that, good question about the free headshots. We are doing the next free headshots at the Small Business Resource Fair.
Oh, nice.
So if you are interested in a free headshot, if you want to guarantee a spot, go to activatenm.com/events and register there to guarantee a spot. Otherwise, it'll be walk-in only, and it'll be first come, first serve for any extra walk-ins. The drop-in mentoring that we're having this Friday, we are going to, oh, by the way, thanks to our mentors who have ever showed up for this. So Michael's been a mentor, Barb has been a mentor, Nora's been a mentor, other folks have shown up for our drop-in mentoring. This is casual, you can just, it's virtual, you just come on in and get into a breakout room to talk to a mentor about product, strategy, sales, marketing, fundraising, etc. We do this every month, every third Friday. So sign up again on activatenm.com events. And this time we're also going to hear from the State Economic Development Department. They have a science and technology business startup grant that is out. So we're going to have a little bit of info session with them, and you can talk directly to the director of the state's Office of Strategy, Science and Technology. It is a $10,000 to $25,000 grant that is available and will be due on September 4th. And then the last event is Startup Fiesta. Again, this is free. The city is paying for the food. Vara Wine is donating the wine, so there'll be free wine. We got some sponsors to pay for the beer, so there'll be free beer and also. And this time, and we're going to hear micro pitches from our food vendors that are all coming from the South Valley Economic Development Center. And we will also hear a interview fireside chat with the founder of Twistle, Kulmeet Singh. He's founded his company in New Mexico and exited New Mexico 2 years ago for over $100 million. So we're going to hear about his story and journey and exit success and advice for that. So thank you so much, and hope to see some of you there. Start Fiesta, this one will be at Chatter, ABQ down on 3rd Street at Chatter. On 3rd Street. Oh, it's on August 29th, 5 to 7:30. And you can find all that information at activatenm.com/events. Thank you. Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah, awesome, thank you. Elise, you have an event?
I do. Kelly and I have a small business owners dinner and presentation. It is also August 29th. And I have flyers if anybody's interested to come and attend. We are talking about business planning, financial planning, a lot of the stuff that I talked about today, but in collaboration with Kelly Treadwin and her husband on the financial side.
Specifically for small business owners.
Yes.
So
So I have those if anybody's wanting to take one.
You have a question or a, come on?
I sort of forgot the most important thing. I do public speaking. I've been on a couple of podcasts and would love to be on some more. I share my story of overcoming satanic ritual abuse and sexual abuse and the transformative power of forgiveness. So any opportunities you know of, please let me know.
Maybe you should apply to present at 1 Million Cups.
I would love to.
All right, guys. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so we went the full hour. We had a great crowd today. I counted over 52 people in person and online. Thank you so much for coming. We'll give you till 10:30 to continue to have discussion, share stories, meet each other. And then we'll ask you to take it off-site so that my members here can get back to work. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next week.